Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and today we are discussing a 1961 movie which received 8 Academy Award nominations and all the others across the world. This movie is starring Paul Newman as Fast Eddie Felson, the pool player. We are talking the classic The Hustler, co-starring Jackie Gleason, George C. Scott, Piper Laurie. So I'm joined here with by Tim and Susan. So we'll go for opening thoughts on The Hustler. Tim, what's your opening thoughts on this movie?
Well, I've never seen it before, and going into it, I didn't know who was in it except Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason. But yeah, the rest of the cast is amazing. It's a very good cast, and it's a good movie. There's just one problem with it: it's too long and it's too slow. I mean, but that may be just because we live in a time where things are quicker now. But I mean, I do think that it's an excellent film, and it's got some pretty big twists and turns, especially as you get towards the end. But I think the second act, it just slows to a crawl. It's very slow. I literally I was falling asleep. I had to turn it off and get back to it the next day. But that's a minor quibble, to be honest. It's still a very good film. It's very well acted. It's a bit of a, I don't know. It's like we were saying. It's not really so much about pool, but it's about addictions and the way people handle them. And I guess it's very ahead of its time, because I mean, they didn't used to address these kind of dramas back in the day so much like they do these days. But yeah, I enjoyed it very much. I just think I think you could have easily trimmed about 20 to 30 minutes out of it, and it'd be a much tighter, better film. But other than that, I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where you thought it dragged, but I'll go to Susan first. Susan, over to you.
I had never seen this, and yet my grandmother calls herself Minnesota Fats to this day. She does it as a making fun of herself type deal, but I didn't know where she got it from.
She isn't a pool player then?
No. And so I was caught off guard by the whole storyline and personalities in it, and Piper Laurie acted her ass off, and George C. Scott. I just remember him in Patton. And there's a lot of stuff that I really loved about this movie. And but I can see where Tim, comes from with it being too long. I could see that now. And yeah, it's definitely a challenging movie, that's for sure. And it's relationally like super unhealthy throughout. And so, yeah, those are my opening thoughts. Over to you.
Thanks for that, Susan. Yeah, well, the running time for this is 129 minutes, so 2 hours and 10 minutes. For a 1961 movie, that is a pretty long. Yeah, the acting in this is phenomenal. Paul Newman in one of his early movies. I know he was in Cat on the Hot Tin Roof a few years before this.
Yep.
But I think this is the movie what sort of broke him. He broke into the big time. And I say the supporting cast, Jackie Gleason. I always see Jackie Gleason as the sheriff from Smokey, is it Smokey and the Bandit? But brilliant comedy actor, but straight actor as well. George C. Scott, many movies. And Piper Laurie. I'd never heard of Piper Laurie until maybe 30 years ago, until I started watching Twin Peaks.
Well, she was the mother in Carrie.
Yeah, I know. I did, but it was Twin Peaks, and then I realised she was the mother in Carrie, and then you go back and she's done this, she's done that. She's a long career. Yeah, and as I was saying to Tim before we started this cast, this isn't about pool. It is about it. It's addiction. It's addiction for the money. It's addiction for the gambling. It's addiction for the drink. It's addiction for everything going in this movie. It's all about,
for sure.
yeah. It does drag, and for me, I don't know if it dragged when Eddie was starting a relationship.
I think it's in the second act. It just kind of slows to a crawl.
Close, yeah. But as soon as that's over with, it sort of picks up again. So they could have edited this out. I don't know if it's all down to editing or they just didn't want to edit it out. But
well, I think also, but see, the truth is there's some important character development during that middle section too, for both her and the Newman character. So I mean, it would be hard to edit it, I think, but I do think it does tend to. I mean, it's a long time before the plot picks back up again about the pool playing and the gambling. I mean, I think that if you trimmed some 10 minutes out, maybe it'd be a tighter, better picture. But I could be entirely wrong, because I mean, to be fair, you do learn a lot about him and her in that middle section. So,
and whoever came up with the idea back in 1985-6 said, "Whoa, The Hustler, let's make a sequel to this," and they made The Color of Money, which won Paul Newman the Best Actor Oscar, as he returned as Fast Eddie in that movie with Tom Cruise.
Oh wow, I didn't know that was a sequel to this.
It's a sequel. He plays the same character 25 years later or something like that. And he won the Oscar for it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It's a classic, but as you say, it's hard going. If you've never seen it, you sit down, watch this, and you get halfway through it, and you think, "God, it is dragging a bit," and but you've got to go with it, because as Tim says, there is some development, character development, story development in that section. But apart from that, I enjoyed it. It's been a good 20 years since I saw that movie last. So let's go to favourite moments or things, apart from the dragging bit, things you might not have liked. Susan, let's go to you.
All right. Well, things that I liked the my favorite moment in the movie is when let's see, hang on, what's her name? Sarah and Fast Eddie are separated, and Sarah ends up talking with Bert, and you know, she dies from suicide thereafter. That was like, it just showed the depths that they were at. It showed how far down in the well, in the crushing black that they've gotten to. And so that was my favorite part. I liked, hang on a second.
Hi, Alex.
Okay. Tim, we'll move to you and then we'll go back to Susan.
Well, I was impressed with the characters, and I was surprised that the most sympathetic character to me was the Jackie Gleason character, mainly because I expected him to be the villain, and he wasn't. He was just a master pool player, and he was very fastidious, with with his clothing, and he's like his wears a flower and all that. And he's he's a dandy kind of guy. But he gets so much shit from people, and he just takes it. He doesn't complain. He just goes about his business. He's a very nice man. I think he's the only nice person in the movie, because the Paul Newman character is kind of a jerk.
Yeah.
He goes on a pretty harsh learning curve, because by the end of the movie you really feel sorry for him. And then of course the George C. Scott character, he's just a villain. I mean, he's got a lot of nerve. I couldn't believe that scene at the end where he's asking for his cut when he didn't even put any money forward. I was like, you got some nerve, man. And then he throws a big tantrum about it. And I think, and after all that happened too, I mean, that poor girl, she committed suicide because I guess she just was a lost soul kind of person and didn't really, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really quite get where she was coming from, but I mean, yeah, but the characters in this movie are really interesting characters, and it ends up being kind of tragic at the end. But I think that's why I'm surprised that they had a sequel later. It must not be very much like this one. But I'd have to check that out. But yeah, this is it's a good movie. It's a very good movie. I just have a issue with the length, I think, just the pacing, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's the pacing of it, I think. Susan, back to you.
Yeah. So that part at the end, it was really intense, with where Bert is demanding payment. That's literally so fucked up. It was just like, he cost him his girl, he cost him his life, or his girl her life, and he cost him, so much, and then for him to demand more, it's just like the leech that he never lets off. And then there was Minnesota Fats, who was absolutely just, he was like the Obi-Wan Kenobi in the thing. He was like, this old guy who knew a ton, and
He just waited to play pool.
Yeah, and he knew, and he, I mean, he was a good gambler. I mean, he knew when to hold him, fold him, whatever.
He wasn't selfish, because you remember whenever in the first section of the film, when the Paul Newman character has won all that money,
right,
and lost it again, and he's got a couple of 20s in his pocket, and he's like he still wants to continue to play even though he's drunk and asleep. Right. And the Fats character is because nah, you've had enough, basically. Like he doesn't want to take his last money.
Right.
So he's the only one in the film that has a conscience, I guess, basically.
Yeah. And because he was older and more, more self-assured, that's why I was saying he was like, the lonely sage or whatever. But there wasn't a lot of loneliness in his group of friends, but every single person that was in Fast Eddie's circle was desperately alone. I mean, he basically cut off his best friend. What was that guy's name? That guy's name was Finley.
Yeah.
And that's what my nephew's called. But Finley is like encouraging him and building him up, and then he just sort of slaps him in the face and walks off. And then, shortly thereafter, he has his ass kicked and his thumbs are broken. And that's, by a young pool hustler. Anyway. It's just a
I didn't quite
challenge.
understand. I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that part because maybe I just don't get pool etiquette, I guess, because uh, I don't see how he was being a pool shark, and if he is, everybody does that. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like, but they got really pissed at him for winning and broke his thumbs. It's like, okay, why
No,
is he? How is
that's just bar behavior, right?
or someone else was behind that, because the scene before that, Fast Eddie was warned
right?
that his luck would run out, and who warned him?
Bert.
Bert. Yeah, so maybe Bert had words with people around the bars
Hmm.
to give him a lesson,
Oh, right.
because at the end of it, he said, you know, if you don't do it, you'll get a bit more than your thumb's broken.
Hmm.
So I think Bert had a bit more control over the people in the pool halls.
Yeah, he's an interesting character because he starts out, he's in his own pool game, or not pool game, I mean, a card game,
Yeah.
and somebody comes and tells him, "Hey, there's this thing going on over here," and he gets up and leaves the game because he wants a piece of it. And I guess he was betting for Fats at one point or something, and then I guess he was, I don't know, he seemed to learn a lot about the Fast Eddie character from watching him, ruin himself that night. I mean, by drinking too much and losing all that money back to Fats, but
Yep.
I don't know.
But also, as well, you do realize when you're watching it, Fats is not the one in charge. As you said, he's not the villain. Bert is the villain. But as you watch the scene there where they're sat in the pool hall watching Fast Eddie, Fats keeps looking at Bert.
Yeah.
So he must be a powerful gangster or whatever in the city, or loan shark or whatever he was.
Yeah.
I think you can see Fats is disgusted with him by the end of the movie, though. He's just
yeah.
haven't you done enough?
Yeah.
Like,
True. But yeah, they was all looking to him, so he had power.
Yeah, he did.
But it was one of the scenes what was outstanding for me was the early on in the film was the pool scene with Fats and Fast Eddie, and Fast Eddie getting gradually drunk, and then he just he was in Fats's face. You're a beautiful man. Look at that beautiful face. He was just digging at him all the time. And as Tim said, he didn't lose his cool. He just, there was a scene where he was just in the bathroom washing his hands, doing his, keeping calm. And there's Fast Eddie, absolutely blottoed.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He just did not lose his cool, even if when Eddie was right in his face. Brilliant performances in this, really are. Anything else would like anybody to say about this before we go to the final score? No.
Excellent cast.
Yeah, I cannot fault the cast. Right then, we'll go to final score. Tim.
I think I've pretty much already said all I have to say about it, but I think it's a great film. It's definitely a classic. I'm gonna give it a 9 because I did enjoy it. I just felt if only it could be a little bit quicker. But
maybe
otherwise,
15,
I thought it was
20 minutes shorter, I would have said. Susan.
I'll agree with Tim. 9's a good score for this. It was really looking at the depths and looking at the rock bottoms that people hit, and it's pretty brutal. So yeah, 9 it gets, and I'd say 9 ball in the corner pocket.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to go a 9 as well. 9 8 balls. Mainly because of the, as we've said, the pacing. The middle section of the movie, it did need a bit more to it, I think, to keep you a bit more interested. So yeah, 9 from me for this. But apart from that, I would recommend watching this movie. If you guys out there haven't seen this, it is a very, very good movie. The performances in this are just top notch. Anyways, thank you, Tim. Thank you, Susan, for joining me talking The Hustler. You guys out there, let us know what you thought of the movie, of The Hustler, what you thought of the performances. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're all over the place. If you would like to join our casts, please get in touch with me or any of the people involved. They'll pass you on to me. And if you like to get notified from our videos, what go up on YouTube, please press the notification bell and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. So until next time, please be careful when you're playing pool. Be safe, because you know what? Them fingers are important to everybody. So until next time, bye for now.